Hello students, now we are continuing with the same lesson, that is the fourth lesson of geography, minerals and power resources. In the last part we have learnt about the conventional sources of energy. Okay, now we are going to learn about the non-conventional sources of energy. So I am starting with this. The increasing use of fossil fuel is leading to its shortage. Now we have learned that whatever the conventional sources we are using, that is the fossil fuel, the petroleum, whatever the depositions are there of the petroleum or the crude oil or the coal or other, that is what in a limited. So the speed in which we are using it, definitely they are going to exhaust. So there is a shortage of the fossil fuels. If we continue at the present rate of the consumption, the reserves of these fuel will be exhausted. So it will get definitely exhausted in the future. So there is dire need for using non-conventional sources. So this is only the reason that we have to go with the non-conventional sources of energy. So these type of sources of energy are recent innovations. So these are recently innovated. They do not cause any pollution and can be renewed easily. So what is the benefit? That they are completely polluted free, okay, and can be renewed very easily. So the pollution free and the renewability, these are the characteristics of the non-conventional energy sources. In this category, the major forms are wind energy, solar energy, tidal energy, geothermal energy, and the nuclear energy. So these are the non-conventional sources. So first of all, we are going to see about the solar energy. Now we know that the solar energy is abundantly available everywhere. Abundantly means what? It is in a large quantity. So the solar energy is the energy that we receive from the sun, and solar energy is the most abundant, non-polluting and inexhaustible source of energy. Inexhaustible means what? Never ending. So it is trapped in the solar cells to produce the electricity, and many of these cells are joined into the solar panels to generate the power for heating and lighting purpose. So there are the cells which are joined in the solar panels. That solar panels you can see in your textbook also. The solar energy is also used in solar heaters, solar cookers, solar dryers. Then, besides being used for community lighting and the traffic signals. So, in that, street lights and the lighting, that traffic signals are also run with the help of this solar energy. It has a huge potential, especially in the tropical countries. So the tropical countries means what? That part which is in between that tropics. Okay. So that areas receive the much more amount of the sun rays or the heat. Then the next is a wind energy. Wind is an inexhaustible source of energy. So the moving air is called a wind. So wind is inexhaustible source of energy. Strong winds make the windmills rotate. So the windmills are set up there wherever the strong wind areas are there. Windmills have been used for grinding grains and lifting water since time immemorial. Okay. But nowadays windmills are different. High speed wind rotates the windmill, which is connected to a generators to produce electricity. So nowadays the windmills are connected to the generators, and with the help of that the electricity can be uh, formed or produced. So it is a clean, safe and non-polluting source of energy. Wind farms with clusters of windmills have been set up in the different parts of world. So there are wind farms with the clusters of windmills. The countries using the wind farms are Denmark, UK, USA, Germany, Spain and China. In our country also, the wind turbines have been set up in the several states such as Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. So these are the areas in our country which having the strong winds. Then the next is a nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is produced by the disintegration of radioactive elements like uranium and thorium. So uranium and thorium, these are the disintegrated of the radioactive elements. This process is called the nuclear fusion and it releases the abundant energy. So with the help of the uranium and thorium, we can receive the abundant energy. This energy is used to generate electricity in nuclear power stations. Countries like Canada, Russia, USA, South Africa, Australia, France and Brazil have the vast uranium and thorium deposits. So you must have heard about the that nuclear plants in the Japan. The important nuclear energy producing nations are Japan, UK, Russia, Germany, Sweden, Canada, India and Ukraine. In our country, uranium comes from Rajasthan and Singhbhum in Jharkhand. So there are the deposits of uranium. Uranium has been found along the coast of Kerala also. The nuclear power stations in India are set up at Naroda in Uttar Pradesh, Tarapur in Maharashtra, Kota in Rajasthan, Kakrapar in Gujarat and Kaiga in Karnataka. So these are the places where the nuclear plants are there in our country. Then the next is a tidal energy. So tidal energy is a term used to represent the energy generated from the ocean tides. So that energy which is generated with the help of the ocean tides, the tides are there, the high tides and the low tides that we know. So with the help of that, the energy is produced or obtained and that is called as a tidal energy. So high and the low tides are utilized to run the turbines for electricity generation. So turbines are there which with the help of which we can produce the electricity, generate the electricity. It is generated from the tides by building dams at the openings of the sea. So at the openings of the sea, the dams have been built and the electricity is produced by installing the turbines in the dams. The technology is not yet fully developed. So this is the technology which is not yet fully developed. Big tidal farms are located in Russia, UK, France and the Gulf of Kutch in India. So this is what the tidal energy. Now the next energy, that is the geothermal energy. So heat energy obtained from the earth, that is called as a geothermal energy. That we know that there is much more amount of heat which is there in the deep earth. So that energy is obtained from the earth and is called as a geothermal energy. For several years, the geothermal energy has been used for cooking, heating and bathing. That is what? For bathing means what? Hot springs, whatever are there. So it is a clean and eco-friendly source of energy. So this is also a pollution-free. The USA has the world's largest geothermal power plants followed by New Zealand, Ireland, Philippines, and Central America. Other countries are Italy, Russia, Japan, and Turkey, which produce the electricity from the geothermal energy. In India also, geothermal power comes from geothermal springs. The Himalaya region, the Godavari Valley, and the Son Narmada Tapi Rift zones have the geothermal springs. Geothermal plants are located in Manikaran in Himachal Pradesh and Puga Valley in Ladakh. So these are the areas where the geothermal energy is obtained. Then the biogas. Biogas is a gaseous fuel, the name suggests. It is developed from the organic waste. So the biogas or that gases is obtained from the organic waste like the dead plants, farm waste, kitchen waste, animal and human waste. The organic waste is decomposed by the bacteria in a biogas digesters to emit the biogas, which is essentially a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide. So this wastage, whatever the waste is, organic waste is there, that is collected into a pit, okay, and with the help of bacteria it is decomposed, and in that decomposition the gases which are emitted, that are the especially the mixture of methane and carbon dioxide, which is used for cooking, lighting homes, etc. So the large amounts of organic manures are produced in biogas plant. So after that means the emission of the biogas, the remaining mixture we can use as a organic manure in the farms as well. Now these are what the non-conventional sources of energy, and as per the discussion we can get know that these are completely eco-friendly and pollution free. So now we are going to turn towards the last point, that is the conservation of power and energy resources. So the energy is everywhere. As per the discussion we can say that energy is everywhere, but we cannot see that harnessing this energy is both difficult as well as costly. So the harnessing of energy means the obtaining this energy is difficult as well as costly. In our daily routine we can conserve energy, so we can save the energy, that is each one of us can make a difference by not wasting energy. So wherever the requirement it is there, that time only we should use the energy, we should not waste it. The people should made aware of use of energy saving appliances for lighting, cooking and heating in homes. So these are that the ways we should apply. Carpooling, cycling and using public transport are the effective energy saving ideas. So instead of using the individual vehicles, we should go with the public transport or the carpooling or cycling we should go with. So this will save the energy. Conservation of energy will lead to its economic utilization in future. So this is what the economic utilization of energy in future. So act now and save energy for the better tomorrow. So this is what we can miss. It is said that energy cannot be produced and cannot be destroyed. So we should save the energy for our better future. So this is how we have completed the lesson. Thank you.